You're down bad. You just got cheated on, and somehow your roommate convinces you to go to a furry convention where you get mixed up with a bunch of cannibalistic killer furries. Yeah, this is. Devin finds out his fiance is pregnant with another man's baby, and he's talking about it with his friend Levi. He was actually planning to marry her, and he already had his grandmother's ring ready, and she didn't even like it. Now he's stuck because his family is pressuring him to marry and raise the kid, which is already crazy. But his people are old school Hindu, and for some reason, they're actually excited about the baby. Levi is like, yeah, nah, we're not doing that. He tells Devin he needs to take a break from all of this, and basically drags him out to clear his head. He even hits him with a quote from Joseph Campbell. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And in this case, that cave is a furry convention. Devin doesn't have a suit, so he borrows one of Levi's and they head out. At the bar, they discuss the complex routine of derobing for a piss, and Devin is already like, yeah, I don't think this life is for me. But Levi tells him to let go a little because tonight is going to change his life. They down the strong drink Levi made, and almost immediately Levi starts wandering off. Devin is already begging him not to disappear on him like he did the last time at a friend's party, and of course he does exactly that. Now we're following Devin, or at least his bird persona, walking through the convention with his stomach all messed up. He ends up going outside to throw up, already irritated because the drink was so strong it was giving roofie, and while he's out there he hears a small bell ring. He turns around and he locks eyes with a woman in a fursuit, and then he notices what's happening behind her. There are two others, a guy and another furry, and they're literally eating someone in the alley. Devin gets out of there immediately, like no hesitation. He runs straight into a cop car and starts begging for help. And of course, his luck is trash, because the cop who steps out is Mirth, the same guy who is sleeping with his fiance. Devin tries to swing on him, yelling that he ruined his life, but Mirth just slams him onto the hood, assuming he's high or losing his grip, yapping about cannibal furries. At the station, Devin wakes up and is questioned by Sheriff Brotman and Mirth. The sheriff is clearly annoyed, but not because Devin is in danger. He wants to know why Devin broke things off with his sweet daughter Whitney. And Devin, he's heated. He's like, are you serious right now? She cheated on me with the deputy standing right there and got pregnant. And Mirth really has the nerve to justify it, talking about how she doesn't like condoms. The sheriff cuts in and gets straight to the point. He actually likes Devin, but more importantly, he likes what Devin's family brings: the money, the status, the connections, and as a sheriff, that support matters. So if his daughter wants to marry Devin, then it's going to happen. Devin doesn't care what either of them wants. The sheriff sighs and basically says he didn't want to do this, but now he has to. He locks Devin in an evidence room and tells him it's full of cold cases he could easily pin on him if he wanted to. He straight up says he plans on keeping his power no matter what, and with the law and money on his side, Devin could be untouchable. But Devin doesn't even respond. So they throw him into a holding cell for the night, still threatening to ruin his life if he doesn't fall in line. Before leaving, the sheriff tells the officers not to interact with Devin at all. The only person allowed to speak to him is this quiet officer named Camillo, and they agree. But the second the sheriff leaves, they do some bullshit. They grab Camillo, shackle him, tape his mouth shut, and write GIMP across the gag. Murph starts planning to frame everything. He's saying they'll just claim Devin asked for something, and when Camillo went to help, he pulls his gun, so they had to kill him. Back in the cell, Devin realizes his options are trash either way. He either stays miserable or trapped in this situation, or he ends up in prison getting his butt touched for the rest of his life. And while he's sitting there spiraling, he looks up and sees the same furry again, the one that looked like a woman. And now he's freaking out because part of him thought earlier that it was just the drugs. We cut back to Camillo, still tied up, still gagged, and now there's a furry standing over him, this tall Baphomet looking persona. And this man is just talking to him like everything is normal. There are some donuts on the table, and he's impressed Camillo isn't out of shape. He says it's good he takes care of himself. And then he asks him the most random question. He asks if he's vegan, and Camillo, terrified, just nods yes, and he gets so excited. The evil goat furry hears the chime of a bell and says he has to go, but promises he'll be back. Meanwhile, Devin is getting his ass beat by Mirth in the cell while Mirth is talking crazy, bragging about how his girl came to him to get her needs met, and is basically implying Devin wasn't cutting it. Devin is still panicking though, trying to tell them that the cannibal furries are real and they're actually in the precinct right now. And the cops are like, yeah, okay, you saw this while you were high, right? And then we hear it again, the jingle of the bell. Next thing you know, we see the blue cat's furry razor tail wrapped around an officer and just cleanly takes his head off. Then the bell rings again and she leaps onto another cop and her mask opens up and just chomps onto his head. Now everybody is losing it because this cat furry is just going to town, eating this man like it's nothing. Murph starts yelling for everyone to split up and run, but one cop is so out of it he doesn't even realize he's cornered and gets a fire extinguisher straight to the face. Mirth is shooting wildly down the hallway and ends up hiding in the girl's bathroom while another cop with long hair is trying to get away, sweating like crazy, begging them to leave him alone. He turns the corner and runs straight into the doll furry and gets smothered to death right there. Now, a few of the furries pull up on Devin, and he's like, look, I'm not even gonna fight. Just make it quick. I'm kind of ready at this point. The goat furry just casually starts talking about how much he loves his suit but hates how itchy it is, and then the rest of the group shows up. He tells Keebs, the doll, to go watch Camillo and not to eat him yet because he's vegan, but he's not even sure they heard him. Devin is confused, like, wait, y'all not gonna eat me? The goat is like, not at all. Meanwhile, the cat furry turns her back like this whole thing is stupid. The goat explains that they saw how Devin looked at her back in the alley and they needed to know for sure. Devin is like, no, what? And the goat goes, did you fall in love? Devin is like, are you serious right now? The cat girl's like, see, I told you. The goat thinks they're both in denial and then randomly asks why the deputies were trying to kill him. Devin is confused how he even knows his name, and the goat casually says, yeah, I read your file. Now, explain what's going on with the sheriff's daughter. While they're talking, we cut back to Camillo still tied up, and Keebs is just sitting there staring at him. Same blank blood-stained stare, just watching him. Camillo, he's terrified, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny. Back with Devin, the goat hears him out, and he's actually like, yeah, that's messed up. Then he tells him straight up, well, you do have a choice here. You can either stay, marry this girl, raise this redneck baby and be miserable, or take a chance and come with us. But he does warn him that there's a very real chance he might get eaten alive. The group starts leaving, and we see the blue cat furry look back at Devin one last time before her mask clicks down and we hear the bell again. Devin immediately gets up and follows them like, wait, am I gonna be awake while y'all eat me? And runs after them. The goat is back talking to Camillo like, look, I don't even know what you want me to say. I mean, everybody's got their own kink. Low-key joking about the fact that this man is literally in a gimp situation right now, tied up and forced to watch everything. He leaves him the fire extinguisher like, hey, I'm not gonna leave you without fire protection. Meanwhile, Keebs steals the police car keys. The goat says he's got one more thing to do and then randomly tells everyone to touch the deputy's skin because it's so soft, like the inside of Keebler's thigh. Then he just leaves, saying he hopes he sees him again. Devin apologizes to Camillo for everything, asks if he needs anything, and then steals the last donut on the way out. The sheriff is in his cruiser, radioing his deputies, but nobody is answering. He pulls up to the station still talking crazy, basically daring anyone to have touched Devin, saying he'll kill all of them slowly if they did. He keeps going until he sees a SWAT van fly past, and with the furry honking the horn. Now we know something's wrong. He runs inside and sees Camillo tied up and all of his deputies laid out, bloody and dismembered. He's like, explain what I just saw. And then Murph comes running in, panicking, screaming about the furries killing everybody. The sheriff immediately switches tone and is like, okay, who killed who? Murph says they targeted all the deputies, and the sheriff starts clocking the situation. He's like, then why is Camillo still alive? And why does it look like y'all tied him up? Murph finally yells that they took Devin, and the sheriff tells him to untie Camillo and they'll deal with the bodies later. Right now, they're tracking the van. No outsiders, no witnesses. Back in the van, Devin is low-key offended they don't even think he's worth eating, and the cat furry is like, so you want us to eat you? He's like, no, but, and then she explains their whole philosophy. Their father taught them that when they eat someone, that person becomes a part of them. Their soul stays with them. So they don't just eat anybody because it's a sacred thing. She closes her hood and says that's why Scratch only eats vegetarian. And Scratch jumps in like, yeah, vegans too. You are what you eat. They ditch the SWAT van on the road so they don't get tracked and cut through the woods, making sure to bring the head from earlier with them. Keeb wants to burn the van, and Devin is like, are we not poking the bear right now? Scratch says after what just happened at the station, we are way past that. If we're gonna fight the bear, we might as well do it with some style. Devin agrees and writes a message by the van. The sheriff pulls up later and reads it. F you, and F your cheating, lying daughter too. They make it back to the house, and it's actually nice. Scratch tells Eddie to give Devin a tour, and she's immediately like, why me? And he's like, you know exactly why. She's embarrassed, but she goes along with it, and Devin is confused because nobody seems worried about the sheriff coming to kill them. Scratch is just chilling, honestly, hoping he can get the carnival lights working before they get there. Eddie shows Devin around the kitchen, the dining area, and then takes him upstairs. She stops at her room and tells him she's gonna change, so he waits outside. He wants to know why she doesn't like him, and from inside the room she tells him, you just shouldn't be here. She says Scratch is obsessed with this idea that they had some kind of love at first sight connection, and that's why he brought him. But she doesn't believe in that at all. She says that it's about as real as the Tooth Fairy, and even if it was real, it never lasts once you actually get to know someone. And Devin immediately catches it like, so you admit there was something? She's like, what? As she walks out now changed, and he kind of just freezes there as he stares at her, then switches the topic. He asks about the carnival rides outside, and she tells him the story of how this man built this whole place for a woman who promised to marry him if he gave her her dream home. He spent 5 years building the mansion just for her to go insane, lock herself in an underground bunker, and refuse to marry him. And the owner just disappeared. While she's explaining all of this, we see this tall, bald dude with her cat suit, and Devin is like, who is that? She says that's Raymond, but you know him as Keebler, and he handles the suits. Devin is trying not to be weird about it, nothing judgy, but he did think she was female, and Eddie's like, she is, and drags him into another room. Now they're in a room filled with heads, furry heads. She calls it the Hall of Honor, a place where they respect the souls who become a part of them. Devin asks if these are all the people that they've eaten, and she cocks to the side asking, is that a problem? Devin asks Eddie, how do you even pick a persona? And she flips it back on him like, well, how did you pick yours? He's like, I didn't. This is my roommate's. He's the one who dragged me here in the first place. And she immediately tells him, yeah, that's a horrible idea. Your persona is supposed to be something that represents you at your best, like your spirit animal. Devin is like, I don't even think I have one, but she tells him her dad believes everyone does. That gets him curious, so he asks about her dad, and then it just goes straight left because he asks if he's the one that taught them how to kill and eat people. And yeah, that doesn't land well, and Eddie starts tearing up. She calls him an asshole and storms off. Devin tries to backtrack, saying he didn't mean it like that, but it's too late. As she leaves, Scratch walks by like, yeah, that could have gone better. He tells Devin their dad died last year, so she's still sensitive and probably dealing with some abandonment issues. Devin is confused now, asking if they're even related, and Scratch is like, not really. Their dad basically rescued all of them from terrible situations and raised them himself, and then casually drops that Eddie's mom was about to sacrifice her before she saved her. So Devin's like, so y'all were kidnapped? And Scratch just goes, semantics. Scratch notices Devin staring at the unicorn suit and calls him out on it, and Devin immediately fires back like, okay, then explain why you picked the devil. Scratch is like, it's not the devil, it's just the goat. And Devin is like, named Scratch? Really? And Scratch says he calls it that because the suit is itchy, but Devin just looks at him like, dude. They leave the Hall of Honor, and Scratch keeps showing him around the house. Now we cut to the sheriff, and he's not playing around. He's got weapons, men, everything lined up, getting ready to go after the furries. Since they want to act like animals, he says he's going to treat them like animals. No arrests with none of the paperwork, just hunting people off the books. One of the men asks, what about the girls? And the sheriff makes it very clear. He wants all of them dead, does not care how it happens. Back at the mansion, Scratch is showing Devin his weapon collection, and he's taking prop making to a whole different level. Devin tries to pick up his spiked axe and can't even lift it, and he's like, are you sure you're not the devil? And they both start laughing. Then Scratch shows him his massive club sword that belonged to his dad, and you can tell it really means something to him. He starts talking about how everyone has this one thing in life that they're connected to. Could be a teddy bear, a letter, a photo, something that just sticks with you. Devin agrees, but you can tell he's mentally drained at this point. He's like, yeah, today has been a lot. And that's when he finally calls him by his name, Bo. Devin just needs a second to process everything. And Bo respects it and gives him space, no pressure. Then casually tells him to go clean himself up because he smells like a homeless meth furry that eats meat. A little while later, Devin is sitting by one of the carnival rides, now in a fresh set of regular clothes, just trying to reset for a second. Eddie notices Keebler's shirt, and she kind of softens a little and admits she might like him now because Keebler never lets anybody touch her weird tourist shirt, let alone wear one. Devin tries to apologize for earlier, but Eddie shuts it down pretty quickly. She's like, can we just move past that? Bo had told her to ask about the ring, so she brings it up. And Devin explains it was his grandmother's. To him, it represents real love, the kind his grandparents had, and the kind he thought he was building. He kind of pauses there and admits he doesn't even know what it means anymore. Eddie tells him not to let someone else take that meaning away from him. Then she shows him her necklace. Her dad gave it to her when he rescued her and couldn't even look at it for a while because it hurt too much. But eventually that changed. Now it means even more than it did before, like the grief made it stronger in some way. Devin sits with that for a second, then says he's got something he wants to tell her. He starts talking about the first time he saw her and then just stops because all of a sudden the carnival lights kick on. Both of them look up confused, and Devin's like, wait, you knew this was here? And Eddie just shakes her head like, no, that's Bo. He's hopeless, and he really is just an itchy, hopeless romantic. We see him over there messing with the fuse box, excited for the moment, and they both realize this might not be the smartest idea, because if the sheriff sees this, but then Eddie shrugs it off and says it's worth it. And yeah, it is too late because they're already being watched. We cut to the sheriff's guys looking through the binoculars, talking about how Devin is out there with some new girl at that weird mansion. The sheriff is pissed, like actually throwing a fit, saying Devin is ruining everything. He tells Murph to call everybody in and that they're moving now. Back at the house, Devin and Eddie are knocked out just sleeping. Devin wakes up to the sound of a car pulling up and he already knows. He gets up, he walks outside and just says, yeah, it was worth it. The sheriff is mid-plan talking to his men when Devin just walks straight up to them and he tells them he'll go with them right now, no problem, as long as they leave them alone. He says he'll do whatever they want and asks, deal? The sheriff makes him say it out loud. You're gonna marry Whitney, no questions about the baby, no drama. You're raising the kid and you're gonna be a good, loving husband and son-in-law. And Devin just kind of sighs and says, yeah. He drops the ring, gets in the car, and they drive off. Keep walks over, picks up the ring, and just stares at it. Back at the station, Devin is pissed. Sheriff Brotman reneged on the deal. He tells Devin this is just a friendly reminder to stay on the path, and Devin is like, what are you talking about? I gave you my word. I said I'd do what you want. But the sheriff doesn't care. He made promises to his boys they get to hunt people tonight. Devin tries to push back, but the sheriff doesn't care and says, yeah, I lied. Like, did you really think I was just gonna let this go? They killed my deputies. You think I'm not gonna get payback? Even if those same deputies were about to kill him, it didn't matter. He tells him he'll be back and to think on his offer and just be happy it's still on the table. He makes Camilo lock him up in the room with the body bags of deceased officers. Back at the mansion, Bo and the others are trying to figure out why Devin even left in the first place, and Eddie doesn't really say anything. She just walks off. Keebs is ready to go immediately. She's already on time, but Bo slows it down and says they don't move unless Eddie wants to. He's not trying to force anything. Then Keebs show him the ring that Devin dropped, and that's what really throws everyone off, because if that ring meant as much to Devin as he said it did, why would he have just left it behind like that? Bo tries the ground thing, saying they can't just go around killing people randomly, and even sounds unsure saying it. Back at the station, Devin is panicking, trying to get out the cuffs and yelling for Camilo. He's basically pleading with him, saying you're a good guy. You don't have to be a part of this. If the sheriff and Mirth were gone, you could really do some good here. Back at the mansion, Keebs is walking down the hallway with a laundry basket when she hears something behind her. It's subtle, just a creak, but enough to make her stop and look, and before she can even react, she gets shot point blank and drops right there. The hunters don't even process what they just hit, and the sheriff immediately tells them to stay focused. Bo hears a noise from the weapons room and assumes it's Keebs, so he walks out casually to check, and that's when he gets hit. Arrows straight to the head and body, no hesitation. The hunters are already talking about what they're going to do next like it's a game. Upstairs, Mirth walks into Eddie's room and immediately notices the cat suit sitting there. He picks it up, squeezes it, and then takes a full breath of it like a complete weirdo. Meanwhile, Eddie is literally hanging outside the window watching him this whole time. She sighs, and it startles him enough to spin around and pull his gun. He starts yelling at her not to move, but she's calm. She just tells him to do what he's going to do because she's not fighting him, and somehow that makes him even worse. Now he's talking about using the bed and the suit, and before he can go any further, there's an explosion outside. Devin just blew up their truck, and he's outside yelling for Brotman. At that point, everything shifts. The furries start moving, the hunters realize they're not in control like they thought, and the sheriff straight up tells his men that if they wanted to hunt humans, they better not complain now because the humans are fighting back. These fursuits are actually lined with Kevlar. They really thought they had it easy, but they don't. Devin is inside now, dragging a pipe along the wall as he walks. He heads straight to the Hall of Honor and stops in front of the unicorn suit, and you can tell something has clicked for him. He grabs the unicorn mask, and his ring falls off the horn as he does. At the same time, everyone else is doing the same thing in their own way. Eddie puts on her father's necklace. Bo grabs his club sword. Phoebes throws on black lipstick. They're all taking the things that matter to them and stepping into it fully. Then the carnival lights come on, and now it actually feels like a battlefield. The hunters are trying to act confident, but you can hear it slipping that they're nervous. Outside, they spot Scratch and try and flank him, thinking they'll still have control of the situation. But Scratch is out there adding a pentagram to his look, fully committed, talking to himself like, yeah, this is actually kind of hard. Inside, Devin walks into a room and the sheriff is already there waiting for him. Now he's talking differently. He tells Devin he underestimated him, saying he actually had some grit. Even goes as far as saying he would have made a good son-in-law. But it doesn't matter anymore. He doesn't need Devin. And he definitely doesn't need his family's money because now he can just take everything. He lays out the plan like it's already done and blame everything on Devin, call it some weird cult situation, say he had no choice but to defend the town and walk away from moment as a hero. Before he can keep going, Mirth hits Devin just because he can, and then we hear the bell. Just then, we pan back to the hunters in the hallway, and Phoebe pops out of nowhere, slicing two of their throats back to back. One of them drops instantly. The other stumbles, and she grabs him, and instead of finishing him right away, she kisses him while he's choking out, and yeah, he suffocates. Back outside by the creepy carnival ride, Scratch is already in motion. The men have him surrounded, or at least they think they do, and he's really out there asking them for feedback. He's like, what do you think of the new look? Do I look more like the devil now? And while he's talking, he's just launching weapons at them. He splits one guy clean in half, cuts the other through like it's nothing, and then pauses like, okay, yeah, I see it now. At this point, it's just Mirth and the sheriff left, and Mirth is clearly shook. The sheriff tells him to just kill it already, but before he can even finish, Eddie comes flying in and tackles Mirth straight out the window. The sheriff tries to go after him, but he's got his own problem now, and Devin is right there. Outside, Mirth is completely disoriented, looking around, trying to figure out where he even is. Every time he hears the bell, he just starts shooting. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter what. He hears it again, spins around, and fires at a figure behind him, then pauses, like, who the hell did I just shoot? He starts talking crazy, trying to play it off like, what were you supposed to be, huh? Let me guess, Daddy Fur. And before he could even finish the sentence, Eddie's tail goes straight through him, slices him clean up the middle. Back inside, Devin is beating the hell out of Brotman, and you can see it on his face. He's actually thinking about it, like, do I kill him or not? And then that bell again. Eddie crashes back through the window, and Brotman doesn't hesitate. He shoots her point blank with the shotgun before she can even touch him, and she drops immediately. He reloads, laughing at Devin, talking about how he never stood a chance, going on about how he doesn't have that killer instinct and that he's weak. Then he says his name, Devin, and that's it. He snaps. Devin doesn't grab anything. He just lunges forward and headbutts him straight in the throat with the unicorn horn, then looks at him and goes, Devin isn't here right now. Can't you read? He rips the mask off and immediately runs to Eddie, pulling her mask off too, telling her he's not leaving her. Not this time. She's crying, telling him that's not enough. And he finally just says it. He knew the moment he saw her. Love at first sight. She pulls him in. He's like, there, I said it. I'm in love with you, okay? And she kisses him, then flips it and says, now you're good enough to eat. Bo and Phoebes are standing in the doorway watching the whole thing. Bo is smiling like, yeah, I knew it. And Kibs is just covering her mouth. The next day, Devin is back at the apartment. Levi is telling him about his night, and then he notices Devin packing. He asks where he's going, and Devin tells him he's going on a trip. He doesn't know where. Levi asks, well, how long? And Devin just goes, forever. Devin asks, do you want to come? And he freaks out for a little bit until he looks out the window and sees Keebs. Immediately he switches up. He's like, yeah, I'm coming. Scratch compliments his suit and asks him if he's vegan, and Devin looks down at the ring and drops it. Eddie asks him if he's really ready for a new beginning, and he pauses. A new beginning? And he picks the ring back up and says, yes, absolutely. The end. And yeah, that's Plush. It's chaotic, very funny. A little disturbing, but there's actually a lot going on under all that. You've got that recurring theme with meaningful items, the ring, the necklace, the weapons, and even the suits. Everybody has something that represents who they are at their core. And then there's the whole idea of actually sticking to it, because Devin spends the entire story letting other people decide his life for him, his family, his ex, the sheriff. And the second he finally makes a real choice for himself, everything changes. And then there's the love angle, which is insane because yeah, he finds true love, but it just happens to be with a cannibal serial killer. But weirdly enough, it still works because for the first time, it's honest. No pressure, no expectations, no pretending to be something he's not, just unhinged, slightly murderous honesty. And I get it. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this, please give a like and a subscribe. It means a lot. I really want to grow this channel. And if you have any suggestions, be sure to leave a comment below. I'd love to see your comments and feedback. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed. Asia out.